Today's review, we're going to be checking out the new NECA Toys Crash Bandicoot figure. Crash Bandicoot is back! The eagerly anticipated action figure line from NECA features Crash Bandicoot as you know and love him. Your favorite marsupial has plenty of articulation for maximum whumps, but just as importantly, he's outfitted with ball-jointed eyebrows to create a variety of crazy expressions. As a bonus, tucked inside is an easy-to-assemble, thick cardstock crate replica. Relive all your favorite Crash moments and get ready to put some oomph in your whump. Before we do anything, of course, we're going to take the tape measure and we're going to go ahead and measure off how tall Crash Bandicoot stands from the bottom of his feet to the top of his hair. The figure is about 6 inches in height. His one accessory is a crate replica, and if you are wondering what the crate replica was, this is the inside of the clamshell. The crate was actually just inside here. You'll find the crate enclosed, and it was just folded up inside in case somebody was wondering where it was. To put it together, I've just simply taken it apart just to show you. It's really easy. You're just going to unhinge it or open it up. Fold these flaps in first. It may help yourself to pre-fold everything before you're doing it. Then the box bottom folds up, tucks into the slot, and then you're going to take the little flap here and it just tucks into, if I can get it there, tucks into the slot right there. That's the one side. You're really going to do the exact same on the other. Fold this back, just going to tuck these in. Fold the box flap down, the lid that is. And you may even find it easier too if you sort of pre-tuck this in. May assist you then to get it completely in. It also would help too if I put the flap in completely. Let's try that one more time. I say easy and then we struggle a little bit. Kind of fold that in. There we go. Got it this time. Perfect. Bingo bango. The cardboard crate is a nice touch. I sort of feel the same way as I did when we looked at the black and white Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street, I believe the Dream Child. Came with a cardboard cutout, and kind of feel the same way as I do with the box here. I appreciate for the fact that NECA would include a cardboard crate, or at the very least a crate replica. Kind of wish though it was plastic, and my only reasoning for saying that is longevity of the cardboard anything. I know you remember what I did with the cardboard insert that came with that black and white Freddy. It's gone somewhere, and at the very least, if I can find it again, it's probably going to be all crinkly and probably has had stuff sitting on it, and it's going to be warped. Cardboard is a nice touch, and it's certainly a much more an affordable means to produce. And it's not even really just cardboard. It's got almost a satin coat, almost like a satin feel to it. It's very nicely decoratively done. But part of me, again, feels like I wish this was plastic rather than cardboard. This gets wet, this gets stomped on by mistake. You're walking out of the room, you accidentally step on it. It's good as toast. So, just my own honest opinion. Move that out of the way. Having a look at Crash Bandicoot, though, I have been extremely excited for this figure to be released from NECA. Having played many Crash Bandicoot games, and one of my oldest memories of playing Crash Bandicoot, I think I used to go to a friend's house all the time, and his mother used to make this delicious grilled cheese sandwich. She made many of them because I was always over frequently having them, and we used to play Crash Bandicoot. I can only imagine the state of the controller, probably covered in buttery fingers, of course from these young children playing Crash Bandicoot, eating grilled cheese sandwich. Such good memories playing video games. So it's exactly what I would have always wanted from Crash. A very brightly colored marsupial. And again, it looks fantastic. It's got some really great, vibrant coloring, which I guess is the best place to start is, of course, the head. We'll kind of work our way down. The texturing is top-notch. It's not an overly hairy textured to the face. It's very subtle, but again, like if you look really closely, you really don't even have to look that closely. You can see the individual like little hairs and stuff. I absolutely adore the airbrushing that they've done to this. That if you like really look at just the head and just the head alone, you can see that there's probably about 4 different colors happening here. You've got the lighter orange or lighter yellowish peach colored orange, and then you've got the slight darker shade, which starts making appearances around the nose area and around the lower areas of the eyes. Then you've got a slightly darker shade than that, and then of course you got the darker colors that make up the ears and whatnot. But even like the ears, it's not just simply a case of slapping dark paint in there. There's darker in the very more deeper areas of the ear, but then it gets lighter, and it gets even lighter still around the edges of the ear. The darker areas also make their appearances around the back section of the ears. It's, like I said, it's probably one of the nicest colored figures, nicely colored painted figures that I've seen so far for 2018. And that's really saying a lot for all the stuff that NECA has released. If you really kind of think of what they've done so far for 2018, I mean, if you look at the multitude of different colors here, again, there's about 4 or so. It's really exquisitely done here on Crash. His face gets a little, sadly, of that carrying down into the snout or lower mouth area. They painted in the teeth as well as the tongue. Looks very good as well. And a very, very dark black on the nose. A little bit of sheen on there as well, which I like. The eyebrows don't get the black. Instead, they actually get more closer to being a darker brown. And then the individual hairs are kind of just quickly wisped whoosh, whoosh, with a little bit of medium brown. The eyes are good. A little bit of reflection happening here. One larger eye than to the other. And of course, touting to the package's description, the one cool thing that I haven't really seen on many other figures is that he has ball joint eyebrows. So in other words, you basically can move the eyebrows back and forth. You can have a more happier sort of Crash. You can also make him a little angrier, a little unhappy with how everything's going. This is probably the same similar look that I have had. A younger version of me trying to get through some of the levels on Crash, I probably have experienced the same sort of face, probably a little less the amount of hair though. Speaking of hair, let's talk a little bit about the hair. It's not as soft of a plastic as you probably could imagine. The end tips are a little more on the pliable side, but it is still of a denser variety of plastic. Again, you've got that exquisite colors of peach, the lighter versions of the red, the little slightly darker shades of the red, all come together extremely well. And I have to admit though, that everything on the back blends well. It may become disjointed as you move things to it, that it doesn't line itself up, but that's just the nature of the way things are painted on an articulated figure. It's impossible to really be able to move the head without, of course, suffering the results of that, the consequences of having the paint simply not lining up. But again, it's got some fantastic, fantastic coloring. The front of his chest is, as you would imagine, to be a completely different color altogether, now bringing a little bit of yellow into the party, and I do like that a lot. The fur gets a little fuller here than I would say it does on, say, like the arms and the head. And they've even painted in like the little belly button. Very cool. Fingerless gloves. Everybody was wearing fingerless gloves. And the majority and the rest of his outfit consists of a knee-high pair of shorts, very brightly colored in like an aquamarine or turquoise, and a darker shade of blue. A little bit of a tie-off happening there. Which leads us all the way down to his sneakers. Sneakers not only have the texturing in play, but they make use of a darker cranberry color, which the cranberry also makes its way around as the trim to the bottom soles of his feet. Speaking of soles, not my sole, but speaking of his soles, they do have peg holes on the undersides of his feet. In all honesty though, that's a very small peg. I have not seen a display stand to feature similar sort of pegs that would accommodate these holes. It's not really necessary to have a stand. I find in the many different poses I've had Crash in, he seems to perfectly stand fine. I mean, I guess if you wanted to have him running, for example, a display stand may come in handy. Like if you wanted to have him slightly running like this, because he will find himself a little on the top heaviness that he may, yeah, there we go, topple over in the process. Alright, so let's talk his posability here. His head rotates left and right. I suppose if his shoulders weren't in the way, yeah, right there, you may technically be able to rotate his head all the way around. His mouth doesn't open and close, but he does have the poseability in the eyes. I would have loved to see what they could have done with like an eyelid. You're thinking to yourself, an eyelid? What is he talking about? Well, if you look at some of the images of Crash, of course, he sometimes winks, for example. If they had found a way to put, I don't even know how they would have done it, but like an eyelid or something, like where you could have mixed and matched eyelids. Okay, let's stop talking about eyelids. I'm thinking about the practicality and kind of the construction of how that would work. It probably wouldn't work, so just scratch my idea altogether. There are his eyes, and he's got the posable ball-jointed eyebrows. The arms move out. They don't move out too much, though. To about there. I do feel a little bit of resistance on these joints, but at the very least, the joints do feel like they're tight. Nothing is loose on Crash here. The arms bend to about there, and you can also rotate the arms all the way around. You can also rotate the hands all the way around. He has an upper torso ball joint, which allows you to crouch him forward, tilt him back. Doesn't seem to have anything in the waist. However, his legs go forward and back and out. The knee is the more interesting facet of his articulation. You can see that there's the hinge there. There's the hinge right there, and there's the hinge right there. But it only really allows his knees to bend backwards and not so much forward. Again, you could probably make use of a stand. I just so happen to have, oh, look at that. What about timing there? How about that for timing? He does have a display stand, or I have a display stand, which I guess you could have him running. Answers a question that I just posed recently during this review. Yeah, you could probably rewind it back to when I posed the question. I don't think I had a display stand to accommodate that hole. It so in fact happens. This is just a NECA display stand, so it actually works well for him. And it plays perfectly if you do want to have him running. So if you want to just kind of move his arms back, forward, tilt that back. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. And then when it comes to his feet rotate all the way around. There's also that hinge like we've already discussed. Nothing additionally to that. Doesn't look like he has foot articulation. Really, if you factor in everything else that this little marsupial could do, that's pretty good. Pretty impressive, pretty cool looking figure. I love NECA's release here of Crash Bandicoot. He's exactly what I would have wanted from a Crash Bandicoot figure, and he delivers in all facets. The only thing I don't really care for is something that I've been very adamantly speaking about in previous reviews, much to the dismay of some commenters that kind of jumped on me for saying this, but I kind of wish that his crate wasn't constructible, and it certainly wasn't made out of a cardboard material. Before you say, well, you know, it does just exactly what it needs to do. It's a crate. You put it together. You can display it with a figure. Long term, though, if you ever want to pack this guy up, put him away, let's say you want to put him in storage for a bit, and then you want to bring him out later, unless you fold that crate perfectly flat, and you put him down on a flat surface, and you don't put anything on top of him or underneath him, that crate should be fine. A lot of times, though, putting anything away in storage, putting anything away in totes, you always know that when you get it later, things may be broken, things may be loose, and a crate like this, being made out of cardboard, may probably be damaged as a result of it. I would have forfeited, I think, the size of the crate to something a little bit smaller if it meant getting it in plastic rather than cardboard. Same as what I've said before when it came to Black and White Freddy, I wish that the cardboard cutout wasn't cardboard. In fact, it was made out of plastic. And again, that's not necessarily me dismissing for the fact that the material makes sense that it could be used as cardboard. I'm just thinking long term, and I always think long term when I pick up a figure, how's this going to hold up over the course of time? If it gets wet, if it gets crinkled, if it gets stomped on by accident, the cardboard crate is pretty much good and done-ski. In the meantime, I will appreciate it as it does look nice, and it looks very nice next to Crash Bandicoot, which of course I will display the two side by side. Today we were having a look at the new released Crash Bandicoot from the folks over at NECA Toys. If you're looking to pick this up for yourself, it should be now available in retail stores and comic book stores alike. More NECA goodies are going to be coming your way, guys, so certainly stay tuned for that. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to this channel, here he goes again. It's that little button. It's right below this video. I'm looking at it right now. No, I'm not looking at it right now. That would be impossible because I'm just recording the video, but you guys can probably see it right now. It's right below you. It's right there. It's staring at me. I'm thinking Ghostbusters. Hit that little subscribe button down below, bunkos. If you haven't had a chance to hit that little subscribe button, you're missing out. You're missing out on lots of material that's coming to this channel on a regular basis. And hey now, make sure you also head over to the main page and scroll down the section that says videos. See if there's anything that you may have missed along the way, as of course new videos are always popping up on this channel. More videos will be coming your way, so stay tuned for those. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.